I have chosen the peer review of teaching process, which is where instructors observe each other's teaching. They reflect on what they've learned through their observation, and then they share their feedback. Having someone who's appropriate to do your review is important, and who's more suitable than your peers who are teaching alongside you in the same program or faculty. Feedback is fundamental as it promotes continuous improvement. Constructive input helps teachers identify areas where they excel and aspects that may need refinement. By acknowledging their strengths and recognizing areas for growth, teachers can fine-tune their teaching methods and consistently strive for excellence. I recommend peer reviews to be a requirement as part of the teaching program and performance evaluation. I think that it should be mandatory and part of the teacher's job description to participate in receiving and giving feedback. Peers can evaluate each other's teaching in various ways. In-person or online classrooms can be observed, or maybe their teaching syllabus or teacher feedback that they give to students. Anything that the teacher does or creates for the students they instruct can be peer reviewed. The feedback that peer evaluators provide will be in written response. I think an evaluation template with basic response criteria, such as what the reviewee's strengths and weaknesses are, what suggestions they might have, and then an open-ended section to write other comments is appropriate. So what happens if your peer reviewers are not teaching the same program? What happens if it's another teacher who instructs an entirely different subject? One of the suggestions I found was to consider equity factors that may influence reviews. One suggestion was that an official acknowledgement be included with each peer review to state that the perspective, thoughts, and recommendations provided are influenced by their own identity, experience, and teaching. Also, departments have a responsibility to ensure that the peer review process meets the needs of their organization. Institutions should create specific peer review guidelines and approve reviewer templates that align with their policies. Peer review processes are intended to be meaningful, so it's important that the reviewer and the reviewee each meaningfully engage in the process. Providing teachers with feedback is not about criticism, but rather about fostering professional development. Remember that both parties are trying to contribute to the overall advancement of the education system. There are some downsides, some cons of PRT. Many teachers will not be so keen on the idea of a peer review. After all, who wants their peers to read their work and assess it? However, if the peers can help see that there's benefits and the importance of the process, they just might enjoy it. There is potential for conflicting feedback when multiple reviewers are involved. Their feedback can sometimes be clashing, leading to confusion for the instructor. There's the subjectivity and bias, which is about the equity consideration that I mentioned before. And then there's the time commitment. It can be time consuming for both the reviewer and the reviewee, but I think that by making it part of the job description and being mandatory will fit it into that criteria. There's also relationship issues. A peer review can introduce issues if there's poor relationship between the colleagues, a strained interpersonal relationship where there's bias. Hopefully we're all adults and that doesn't happen.